Welcome to this short presentation regarding the upcoming procurements for G-Cloud 13. Over the next few minutes, we will explain how G-Cloud 13 is constructed, how it operates, and how you can apply to be a supplier through the agreements. We'll give a brief overview of G-Cloud 13 and then move on to the scope and application process for lots 1 to 3 and the timetables surrounding that, before discussing the scope and application process for lot 4 and its timetable. It's important that you pay attention to these elements as they are very different processes. We will then talk about the process for seeking clarifications about anything concerning the agreement or how the process works. This will be where you can raise concerns and check your understanding. All clarification questions will be answered, and both the question asked and response given will be published periodically. Finally, we'll summarize the differences between G-Cloud 12 and G-Cloud 13 for you. G-Cloud is now a well-established brand in the public sector, and this procurement will be for its 13th iteration. There are currently over 5,200 suppliers providing nearly 38,000 cloud-based solutions and support services to central government departments and arm's-length bodies, local authorities, the NHS and more. 90% of those suppliers are SMEs, and they are attracting 40% of the £12 billion that has been spent through G-Cloud to date. That's over £4 billion going into the SME ecosystem, and this figure is growing year on year. However, the world of cloud services and support has and continues to change, and G-Cloud needs to change too in order to stay relevant and effective. The upcoming procurement exercise will include some changes to ensure that G-Cloud better represents the provision and consumption of these services, the procurement regulations that govern the public sector, and the need for competitive markets to be reflected in our commercial agreements. So let's talk about the first 3 lots of G-Cloud 13. For those of you that have been G-Cloud suppliers before, this will look familiar to you, as these lots will remain unchanged from G-Cloud 12 in terms of their scope. Lot 1 is for the provision of cloud hosting services such as infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, that facilitate customers in the deployment, management, and running software in the provision and use of processing, storage, or network resources. Lot 2 is where you can provide cloud-hosted software as a service applications. And Lot 3 is for the provision of cloud support services to help customers move from on-premise to cloud-based solutions. Services here fall into 6 areas: cloud migration planning, setup and migration, security services, quality assurance and performance testing, training, and ongoing support. All 3 of these lots will operate on a direct award only basis via an electronic catalogue, which will present your services at a fixed price along with your competitors, enabling the customer to view all offerings, down select for appropriateness using predefined filters, and then place a direct award call-off contract. Because of this direct award mechanism, it is Crown Commercial Service's recommendation that these lots should only be used by customers for contracts up to £250,000 in value. Anything over this amount should be procured via a competitive process on an alternative commercial vehicle. Getting onto G-Cloud 13, lots 1 to 3, is achieved by applying via the digital marketplace, a link to which will be provided in the contract notice. You need to make sure that you are registered on the digital marketplace and have a DUNS number before you can apply for a position on G-Cloud 13, lots 1 to 3. But this is a very straightforward process that you will be guided through after following that link. Once you are registered, you just need to enter your company details, answer the supplier declaration questions, and then upload the details of your services and any relevant attachments. If you're a G-Cloud 12 supplier, you'll be able to reuse your G-Cloud 12 declaration and services if they remain appropriate. There are a few new questions in there, and some that have changed enough that they require a new response. In these instances, you will be prompted by the system to provide a new response. Please do check the questions and the responses for G-Cloud 13 to give yourselves the best possible chance of gaining a place on the framework. Your service documentation will need to be uploaded again into the system. The contract notice for G-Cloud 13, lots 1 to 3, will be published on March the 8th, and the application process will open the following day on March the 9th. There will then be a 5-week period for you to raise any questions you have seeking clarity on the procurement. You can do this via the digital marketplace, and we will be responding to them regularly. All questions asked during this period will be published along with the answer, so please do not identify yourself when asking a question, and check through the questions and answers that we have published already to see if your question has been addressed. The clarification period will close on Tuesday the 14th of April. After this date, we will not be answering any further questions that are submitted, and we will publish the final log of questions and answers on Thursday the 28th of April. Once this has been published, you will then have nearly 3 weeks to complete your application, with the deadline being 12 noon on Wednesday the 18th of May. Next, CCS has to go through all the applications and compliance check them. You may be contacted during this time if we need to check your response where we spot non-compliance, just to ensure your application is as was intended. After all that work, we will issue our intent to award notifications on Friday the 26th of August, which will be followed by the 10-day standing still period, allowing us to award the framework on September the 7th, 2022, going live the following day. G-Cloud 13 Lot 4 is an additional lot being procured to allow customers to run further competitions for the services that are available through Lot 3. This is following customer feedback that they would like to have this functionality, particularly for those larger and more complex requirements that span multiple disciplines within the scope of the lot. This lot is for further competition only, and direct award will not be permitted in this lot. If you wish to provide these services via the electronic catalogue via direct award, you need to be applying to Lot 3 via the process described earlier. Because this lot is intended for further competition only, we cannot procure it in the same way that we procure lots 1 to 3, and the procurement will not be conducted on the digital marketplace. A separate contract notice will be published containing the links and instructions on how to bid through our e-sourcing platform, Jagger. Lot 4 bid submissions will be evaluated on price and quality in response to the specification included in the bid pack. In order to keep the subsequent further competitions manageable for customers, the number of available places in this lot will be limited to 40, and the bid pack will contain all of the necessary information explaining how this will be achieved. Suppliers are permitted to go for any number of and combination of the 4 lots under G-Cloud 13, but if you wish to be on all 4 lots of G-Cloud 13, you will need to follow the digital marketplace application process described earlier for lots 1 to 3 and submit a response via Jagger for lot 4. The timelines for lot 4 are very similar to those of the other 3 lots, with everything up to and including the tender submission deadline being the same. You need to get your bid to us by Wednesday the 18th of May. However, because of the price quality evaluation process being employed for this lot, we will not be issuing our intent to award until Monday the 10th of October, with award following the standstill period happening on Friday the 21st of October. The clarification process will be exactly the same as lots 1 to 3, although you will use the Jagger platform to raise them. If you need to ask questions on any aspect of the G-Cloud procurement, you need to follow the clarification process touched on earlier. This is the only way we can communicate with you about the procurements, and all questions asked and the responses given will be published periodically during the clarification period, with a final publication on Thursday the 28th of April. After this date, we will not be able to respond to any further questions. All questions need to be raised through the relevant platform. Questions relating to G-Cloud 13 lots 1 to 3 should be raised through the digital marketplace, and those relating to lot 4 should be raised through Jagger. Questions need to be raised for each platform, so if you have a question that relates to all 4 lots, it must be raised once on the digital marketplace and once on Jagger. Please keep your questions specific and anonymous as far as possible. Remember, all questions and answers will be published. If you feel that a question should not be published, you need to explain to us why, and we will take that into consideration before deciding whether or not to publish. As clarifications and their responses will be published every few days, please check through the latest version before submitting your question, in case it has already been asked and responded to. We aim to answer your questions as soon as possible, but some of them may need to be referred to other departments, and this could affect the turnaround time. Whilst we welcome the opportunity to answer your questions and clarify the procurement process and how the framework and call-offs work, please remember that this is not an opportunity to negotiate the terms of G-Cloud 13. So that is what the new G-Cloud 13 looks like in terms of its scope and structure and the procurement methods involved. The differences between G-Cloud 13 and 12 include a better end-to-end buying journey with the consolidation of some of our digital interfaces. There are some changes to the terms and conditions for lots 1 to 3, and a detailed summary of these will be included as part of the bid pack. We have included the opportunity for some customers to take into account a supplier's approach to the social value procurement policy, which is now mandatory across central government, and the introduction of Lot 4 increases competition at both framework and call-off level, as well as allowing customers to take social value into account to a much greater extent in their further competitions. G-Cloud 13 will run for 12 months and has an additional 12-month extension option. That concludes this short presentation on G-Cloud 13. I hope you found it useful. Do keep an eye on all the usual channels of communication, including our web pages, and find the tender service. And good luck with your application.